So I'm a personal trainer. I own a gym facility in Old Town East and a CBD store inside that facility. I crafted a life that allows me to be off in the afternoon. So generally, I wake up in the morning and I go to work. I train until about maybe 11 or 12, and then I'm off in the afternoon. And I get to actually have the house all to myself. If you are an adult, you know how glorious it feels to have your house to yourself. And on those days, I like to go home and I like to cook. I like to make my lunch so that it's hot. And I'm happy to know that I don't have a 9 to 5 where I have to rush and eat and get back to my office, or I have to go somewhere and my food is cold. And this is the life I've crafted for myself. So on this particular day, I'm doing just that. Minding my own business, going to get me some lunch at Chipotle. Now, this was probably about 2010, maybe, I can't remember, but it was right when I moved to Bexley. I'm originally from Huntsville, Alabama, so we don't have a Chipotle in Huntsville, Alabama. So when I learned about Chipotle, and this was back when Chipotle made huge burritos, and they couldn't put the top on your bowl if you got a bowl. And I think everybody understands what it means when you go to Chipotle and the steam is coming off the food, you know that it's hot. And so I was trying to get back home before my food got cold. I was driving a 1983 Mercedes 300 turbo diesel that I had converted to run on vegetable oil. My family didn't think that it was a nice car, but I thought it was beautiful. It needed a paint job. It had some rust spots on it, but I'm into aesthetics. And so on my way home, I'm driving along Pleasant Ridge, and this is when I lived on Pleasant Ridge Avenue, minding my own business. I don't know if you've ever driven a 1983 diesel or any diesel that's old, but they don't go too fast. You really have to make an effort for them to go fast. And so as I'm traveling to get to my home, I pull into my driveway and I grab my Chipotle bag to get out of the car. And as I'm leaning out to get out of my car, behind me, I see a police car. First time I saw it was when I was getting out of my car. And I throw up my hand to wave at the officer, thinking that the officer was merely just pulling into my driveway to turn around and go in the opposite direction. And she gets out of the car. Get back into the car! Get back into the car! As she approaches me. Has anybody here ever had a gun pointed at you before? Then maybe you can understand where I was at in that moment. There's a difference in this situation when you're black. So when that happens to you, you freeze. and immediately things come to your mind. The first thing that you think is run. I'm pretty fast, but I can't outrun a bullet. And because I'm black, if I do run, that's going to be justification for me to be shot and killed. So I don't run. The next thing you think is to protect yourself, to attack the person that's pointing the gun at you, but you can't do that either. Because that's going to be justification to kill you. And so the only choice that I had that day, after coming to my senses after about 10 seconds, was to get back into my car to create some space between me and this person. I don't even have a clue what's going on. I have absolutely no idea what's going on right now. I don't know what the hell is going on right now. And so she comes to my car, and she's already going in on me. I'm confused. And she says that everybody is complaining about these college kids driving down this road speeding, but it's the residents. And so now I'm even more confused. So I'm like, ma'am, why did you just jump out of your car with your hand at your waist, screaming at me to get back in the car if you pull me over for speeding? And she goes, because I thought you were about to go in the house and get a gun. And I'm thinking to myself, how do we go from you're stopping me for speeding to I'm about to go in the house and get a gun, and I'm holding a bowl from Chipotle in a bag in my hand? How do we get there? And this, people, is how we get to the hashtags. This is how we get to just the thought. The way someone thinks is how we get to the Philando Castiles. It's how we get to the John Crawfords. It's how we get to the George Floyds. And I can name after name after name after name. This is how we get there every single time. And I have no other reason to believe that if I'd been shot that day, that I'd be vilified just like the rest of the people that it's happened to. And that's just one of my stories.